If you're anything like me and you're just a Snapchat logo, I'm a ghost, came into this world same way I died alone, listen up and let's just see why Gen Z has a rise of invisible men. And guys, don't feel bad if you feel cooked. It's really it's really not your fault. It's just systemically, bro. This world's really fucked up. So let's just get right into it.
Had it for 5 years. You barely knew anyone there, and no one got you as much as a goodbye card. You left with no fuss. Things have been really difficult lately, and whenever you get home, you're so exhausted that all you want to do is rot in your bed, either doom scrolling or sleeping. When you're outside, you might as well be a ghost. Many faces pass you by, but none seem to even acknowledge your existence. You have nowhere to go but home, so you stay there. You haven't seen your friends in a while, but it's fine. They probably have more important things to do anyway. You know what? You think to yourself. I'm just gonna play some games and watch some anime today. I need to relax for a bit before I can start looking for a job again. Suddenly, a week passes. You don't feel more relaxed. The time just seemed to zoom by. What if you relax just for one more day? You got some pizza leftovers from yesterday, and your parents will be gone for the next couple of days. Then you can start to get back on your feet. As the days pass, you don't even notice how you haven't talked to your friends for months, and they seem to have forgotten about you. Living everyday life has become exhausting, even if you just play video games all day and watch TikTok.
Fuck, life can get depressing, bro. Holy shit, bro. Sorry, I just had to say that, bro. Like, oh shit.
Girls in questionable outfits. It leaves you completely drained for the next day. It's not like there's a reason to go outside anyway. You have no one to meet, no one checks up on you, and even your family seems to leave you alone. It doesn't matter, since you avoid your parents because you're too ashamed of yourself, and the only type of human interaction you get is through Discord. No one seemed to have even thought of approaching you, and very few people, if any, remember that you exist at all. Instead of a girlfriend, the only object that even comes close is an Oscar Langley figurine. Standing there as a monument of shame to your crippling loneliness. Despite months passing by, it all happened so fast, and you didn't even notice. You've become an invisible man.
Nah, you was an invisible man from the jump, bro. And I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about you. You. Yeah, that guy, the guy in the mirror, that guy right there. I have been an invisible man from the jump, and more than likely, unless you're just a demigod, you have been an invisible man from the jump too, bro. Like, at the end of the day, bro, like, life as men, unless you really become upper echelon, you're gonna be invisible. And that's gonna happen for the rest of your life. And even when you are the upper echelon, you're just gonna be used as a tool and utility. So, at the end of the day, it's pretty depressing as a man. You're not gonna get loved unconditionally, so you just gotta get over it. Live life on your own terms if you can, or at least get to a point where you can live life on your own terms, because at the end of the day, man, fuck everybody else, because everyone's there just really just to, there's very few genuine people in this world who just rock with you just to rock with you. It's usually always some means to an end.
Seen by the outside world. That story might sound insane to you, and you might be thinking to yourself, how can you not notice shutting yourself in and losing contact to everyone you knew? Some people must have checked up on you. But this is the reality for a lot of men, especially in Gen Z. These, what I like to call, invisible men, are finally being noticed, but not because people are interested in them, but because of their absence. The very same absence from partaking in society makes them so difficult to notice, but it has now become a major problem, because a lot of men who are supposed to be hard workers, husbands, and best friends are missing. Statistically, they aren't even getting into relationships in the first place if you are a Gen Z man aged 18 to 24. And it's no wonder, because it has never been easier to go missing and be absent from society. You can have a remote job as your source of income. You can order groceries online through various services. In fact, you can buy all of the essentials to live online and have them shipped right to your doorstep. Modern technology and services have enabled people to live their entire life at home now. And I think this is a huge reason as to why so many men in Generation Z are invisible. We have
Yeah, I mean, that part, of course, obviously, you don't have to really touch grass as much these days anymore. But ultimately, man, I'm curious to see what his definition of invisible means. Does he mean invisible by the opposite sex, or does he mean invisible to just the whole general populace. I am curious with that because if it's invisible by the opposite sex, I mean, yeah, duh, bro. Social media, dating apps, bro. If you're not a top 5% man, good luck. I mean, it's just the fact of the matter. And on top of that, if he is talking about invisible as a society, I mean, everyone's technically invisible unless you really know them. So I don't know what he really means by invisible. Hopefully, he gets some
Face
more
their
detail.
regular lives with surrogate ones en masse. And it's so bad that even if you quit as a person, you're not much better off when it comes to loneliness because everyone else is hooked up to all of these devices and replacements for everyday life. It's become
Right.
really hard to find anyone who will hang out with you. Not to mention the fact that people are far less tolerant of each other because they get stuck in echo chambers of people who are just like them, and they lose the skills to be able to build a relationship with someone that isn't a carbon copy of them. A lot of them are also too tired to make any new friends or socialize. After all of the once-in-a-lifetime events we've experienced over the past 5 years, you actively have to make yourself be seen so you won't become a burning memory. Usually, most people establish their main friend groups and circles during high school or college, and they just stick with them. They don't feel the need to make any more friends. If you think people as a whole aren't even looking for mutual friendships, that's not an illusion. It is indeed a huge societal issue. So did men just suddenly start wearing the spy's cloaking watch for fashion, enabling them to go invisible and backstab people? No, not that kind of invisibility. I'm talking about being seen at work or outside. This might sound crazy, but if you're an average man, in a lot of environments, people will barely even acknowledge your existence.
100%.
During your commute, people will just pass you by, looking at their phones or having headphones in.
And you know, part of that is not even really just the fact that you're an average guy and you're invisible. Part of that is just people are fucking socially awkward, bro. And people are like, you know, the style of America is like it's an avoidant style where people just want to avoid any I guess trigger to an actual conversation. You know what I mean? Like they want to avoid making that eye contact, you noticing them noticing you, and then actually, you know, something happening from that. So yeah, it's just people don't want to socialize either. So I and myself included, I sometimes complain about being lonely and shit, but at the end of the day, I don't even want to fucking socialize with people. Like for what? So I don't know. I think it's just the new society we live in, the new world we live in. We don't really need to, but yet we kind of miss the old days. So I don't know, man.
During work, people are too busy to talk to you, and you either live with your family at home or alone. I think another reason that might not be obvious to men as to why nobody even acknowledges them is because they are inherently dangerous. So women and men alike are suspicious of them, and afraid. This leads to men only engaging with each other, if at all. The evil men ruin it for everybody. A man can literally outsmart and defeat every animal on this planet, and we are apex predators in every sense of the word. Do you see how that could be scary if you're not a man? I know it's not the men's fault that it's like this, but sometimes a crappy situation is no one's fault. This is something we have to deal with, and we have to make ourselves very non-threatening, or else you'll just be avoided. Trust me, women walking away from you in fear of their own safety sucks just as much for them as it does for you. It feels like every other video about Gen Z revolves around the men of this generation quitting in one way or another, and they're not just saying this because they're bored. I think one of the core reasons for men becoming invisible to everyone around them is depression. Even if we seemingly live in prosperity, our mental health has been abysmal, and we don't have the energy to do anything really. But the question is...
Bro, that shit's no joke, bro. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys, bro. Like, I mean, like, it's just like in the air, bro. Like, it's just... And it's been like this for kind of some time, bro. It's just this depressing, dark cloud, bro. You know what I'm saying? So... I feel like I can open up to you guys, but like, man, I mean, I deal with that shit, bro. Like, fucking, I mean, every day, bro. Every day, it's just like, even times when I don't even have no reason to be depressed. You're just depressed because you just know life will never be the fucking same, bro. No matter how many M's you have in your account, no matter, like, just the way that we used to know the world, bro, it will never be the same, bro. Like 2019 back, it'll never be the same, bro. So it's just fucking...
Are you depressed because you're lonely, or are you lonely because you're depressed? Probably a mixture of both. But depression aside, even if you're just a regular guy, it might be very difficult for you to be seen. One of the only ways these invisible men can be seen at all is through the online world. A good example of this are these men filming themselves in cars talking about their personal struggles. They keep talking about it because they can only vent. Nobody's providing them a solution. In fact, they're all wallowing in their misery collectively because they're mostly friends with people who are like them.
Well, technically, if that guy is 31 and that video came out 3 years ago, he'd be a millennial. So I just wanted to.
They're invisible in the dating life, getting 0 matches on dating apps and being rejected by women in real life. Their careers are mostly either jobs they hate or remote jobs, or of course a combination. Even if they have a job that enables them to interact with people, their interactions are often shallow in nature and no one takes an interest in them because of various reasons. A lot of people don't even see the value of seeking out more friends when they can just remain in their comfort zones and or make friends online through social media. The existence of these invisible men is often filled with shame, and putting themselves out into the world would reveal how lonely and miserable they are. This is also a vicious cycle, because the longer they don't put themselves out there, the more miserable they will become, thus making it even harder to expose themselves out into the world. They are invisible to protect themselves. You can't be a failure or hated if no one even knows you're alive. But when you become terminally online with very little outside interaction, you become vulnerable to bad actors who are looking to profit from your predicament. From the promises of false riches to the indoctrination into a radical worldview, depressed men who have nothing to lose are historically proven to be some of the most dangerous weapons of all time. You can build an entire career out of pandering to them and promising ways to get out of their situation, but never delivering. So
Grifters, FitX Fearless, Awesome Dunham, and this is like, I guess we can just talk about dating here. Andrew Tate University or whatever, Hustlers University, bro. All this shit is, all these guys, bro, are pandering upon, most guys, especially in, our generation. That's fucked up out here, bro. That's depressed. That is working shitty ass jobs, bro. That went to school, went to college, have to work shitty ass jobs, and fucking, have to keep just grinding away, doing the same shit over and over and over and over again in this corrupt system where literally the only thing that's guaranteed is that we're just gonna be paying fees, bro. Like, it's fucked up out here. I always used to be like, why do guys like be playing video games? But I understand why now, bro. Because life, like, what is it out there, bro? I mean, me personally, I'm different, but I understand not everyone's built like me, bro. And I also understand, and I know what it feels like to be fucking invisible and depressed all the fucking time, bro. But what my cope is personally is just fucking grinding and just getting as much money as fucking possible to make myself feel good. And then once I'm done grinding, I just sit back and wallow and like, fuck, bro. Like, what was that all for? Like, it's not like I'm gonna get any new bitches from leveling up or getting, you know what I mean? Like self-improvement and all that good stuff, So that's why if you do self-improvement, I would just do it for yourself and no one else, because no one else is really gonna care, dog. Especially the older you get.
these bad actors teach them beliefs that fit the mindset of isolated men specifically, but a lot of the time, these same beliefs keep them isolated. From believing that being nice should entitle you to a girlfriend automatically, to believing men who are lonely are actually Sigma males whose loneliness makes them cool. They move in the shadows, silent moves, loud results. The life of a Sigma man is a tough one, but it's well worth it. They romanticize the struggle of having no one to connect or relate to, and try to gaslight themselves into believing that this is necessary to become rich someday. In reality, not only can you have a healthy work-life balance, but successful business owners and entrepreneurs often do something called networking, which is basically just getting to know more people with specific skill sets. A general rule of thumb is that if anyone offers you easy money and a surefire way to get all of your desires, they are trying to scam you. If it's too good to be true, it is 99.9% of the time. Also, I find it suspicious that all of these dude bros and pill people focus on men so much. What men should do with each other, what they should wear on a daily basis, how you should act as a man, and how you should treat your woman as a man. It's almost like they like men. Actually, they love men, literally. Speaking of men, one of the wackiest beliefs isolated men develop or get coerced into is the idea of what I call divine masculinity. This belief poisons the well when it comes to any human interaction. Let me explain. All of you have probably heard the term toxic masculinity be used very frequently when talking about the issues of men, on both sides of the spectrum. The red
Right.
pillars claim that the misery of the modern man comes from them being unable to partake in traditional masculine gender roles. And that a man following this masculinity is not only crucial to his personal well-being, but to the well-being of society as a whole. While quote-unquote liberals or feminists claim that a lot of the issues of the modern world come from the patriarchy and so-called toxic masculinity that suppresses women, minorities, and even other men alike. This whole hoopla around masculinity revolves around these two positions and trying to determine which one is right and
Pretty much, each side pointing the finger at each other, like who's the one to blame. And I just stay low key out the way, but staying in my lane. So pretty much,
more importantly, which one is wrong. In reality, both of those views and ideas are mere distractions. The very concept of masculinity and the idea of it is being abused because there is no solid definition of it. Sure, the dictionary might give you one, but your uncle might add things to the definition, like all men need to be able to fix their own car. Or that it's masculine to wear your pants saggy. Oh no, it's actually masculine to wear suits and dress like you're from the 20th century. It's the man's natural urge to desire a loving wife and many children, whom he can provide for. No, scratch that. Every man secretly wants to be a playboy billionaire who gets all the women he desires.
shit. Both options are pretty cooked these days, bro. But if you want to be that player or whatnot and get a bunch of bitches, bro, I mean, you can really only do that as a certain type of guy, you know. But and then actually having a traditional family and shit, yeah, right, bro. Kiss that shit goodbye, bro. No one wants it. Like, I don't know, bro. It's just a very weird energy in the world, bro. And it's kind of fucked up out here, man. I hate to sound negative, but I mean, it's kind of true, bro. Unless if there's any, if you guys don't think it's true, please let me know down in the comments.
Masculinity as a constant does not exist. It's completely made up. Unless everyone agrees on a single definition of masculinity and femininity, then all of our discussions and arguments about it are useless. I've seen it be abused many times with a men should never cry, or that you can't express your emotions too much in general. Let me ask you this, if men can't cry, can they also not cry tears of joy? When was the last time you as a man were so happy that you cried tears of joy? How is it emasculating to experience such a high level of happiness? The answer is, it isn't. Some people just say that because they themselves are miserable and they don't want others to be happy. They use masculinity to control and police the behavior of men so that they stay in line. I've seen this time and time again in men, that the older generation makes fun of the younger one for having what they think are easier lives or being less manly in one way or another. Just because they spent their whole life trying to fit into this imaginary societal box doesn't mean you should. This is just an example of crab mentality. They're extremely annoyed that their way of life has mostly ceased to exist and that times change. With the times changing, gender roles change as well. Did you know that high heels were invented for men to appear taller? It's true. Or that pink used to be the manly color and it. But don't let it become the sole thing that defines you. You are human first, man second. Always keep that in mind. I have seen men not being able to cry at the passing of their own beloved father because they assume they shouldn't cry because they're a man. They've had this
some bullshit, bro. That is some bullshit, bro. That is some bullshit. Yeah, I mean, in gender dynamics, like in a relationship, would it help you to, bawl your eyes out outside of a situation of your family members dying and complaining like a little girl to your girl? Probably not. And she's probably going to be disgusted with you and probably fucking leave your ass because, they'll leave you for fucking anything. But in regards to, like, you crying over a loved one dying, like, at the end of the day, guys, I've cried, you cried, every guy has fucking cried before, bro. Yeah, it's looked down upon, but at the end of the day, it is a natural human response to a certain array of emotions. So, I mean,
for so long
what are we
that
talking
even if they
about?
wanted to cry, their body refuses to. And what helped them was to realize they're only human, after all. They still have emotions, and would they really be mad at a person grieving their own father? As a man, you're a person, just like the rest, and you're human. Being loved and cared for isn't something you need to put on a mask for. Because you don't know if they would still love you if you weren't man enough. It's almost like it's called masculinity for a reason. You oftentimes have to put on a mask that is expected of you just to be accepted into society. I say it's time we drop those masks and see ourselves for what we are. Our freedom
nice.
shouldn't be a shame.
Very
Don't
nice.
let yourself be ashamed for the person you are on the inside. Even if you don't know who you are at this point in life, continuing to wear this mask is only going to hinder you from finding out. I generally believe that all of the masks we wear on a daily basis to perform a theatrical display of our greatness as a person is greatly hindering us from achieving human connection. Masculinity was just a topical example, but realistically, everyone is wearing these masks to some extent to pretend to be someone they aren't, to please an audience who don't even know what they want. We've masked ourselves with so many layers of irony, we forgot how to peel them off and be sincere. A sincere desire to be seen for who you are is natural. And the first step to achieving that is to drop the act, so to speak. You might not change the whole world, but it will change your world, and a spark of bravery is enough to light the fire of enlightenment. But back to the myths of society that keep so many men invisible. We have masculinity being equated to wealth. If you're struggling economically, that doesn't make you any less of a man. The whole economy is struggling. Rich a-holes want you to believe that your personal wealth directly equates to your worth and status as a man. If you're poor, you don't deserve to be acknowledged, so to speak. It's to trick men into fighting each other instead of uniting and stopping the loneliness epidemic we have. It's the belief that if you simply become a part of the 1%, all of your problems will disappear and you'll—
Which is some bullshit. I'm telling you, y'all. The things that you think will come with the success and self-improvement really don't, bro. It really don't, bro. It really don't.
be a gigachad among men. The myth of becoming part of the 1% has tricked millions of men already into giving them a goal to strive for that literally only has a 1% chance of working. It solves absolutely nothing. Even if you do become part of the 1%, do you really want to leave all of your friends and male comrades behind? While you sit there on your blood throne, you see 99% of men struggling and living terrible lives. While you're as visible as a shining star, the rest of the men have to fight each other to even be somewhat visible. We need to find a solution that helps the majority of people instead of only 1% of them, period. Regardless of gender. It's a tactic to keep you miserable and enable their lavish lifestyle. It can also trick men to focus entirely on their work to avoid their feelings of crippling loneliness. And not being a part of anyone's life but your own. But this is just gonna lead to burnout eventually, because you can't quench your thirst by sleeping. I think the true solution is for men to start building and being part of communities instead of their solitary confinement. Even having a nuclear family is pretty isolating. We used to thrive in communities of tens of people. But even if new communities are the way to go, it seems like we're more divided than ever before, especially when it comes to men and women. I think a key part in the division between men and women in this generation is because both of them have different algorithms. Not only that, but on apps like TikTok, you can get different comments suggested to you depending on your personal preferences. I managed to trick my algorithm into thinking I was female by creating a new account and watching videos on the menstrual cycle, and just the general struggle of the female experience, and I was shocked just how different their algorithm was compared to that of a man.
That would be a good experiment, bro. Just to see, like, just to act like you're a girl on TikTok and Instagram and whatnot, and just see what the fuck pops up on the explore page and what you're recommending and what comes onto your feed, just to get an idea of what they're getting fed. You know, because us guys, we're getting fed shit, but what are they getting fed, you know?
Women of this generation are also very lonely, just in a different way. And the men are lonely because there are basically no women that match their standards who like them back, or even know about them, while the women are lonely because their options are mostly guys who are either full of themselves, or they simply want a girlfriend and not the woman as a person. They like the concept of a girlfriend, but they view the actual girl as interchangeable. The manufactured gender war has also greatly contributed to the further invisibility of men. If men and women hate each other, then that's minus half the population for intimacy and personal relationships. It's an easy, profitable way to create engagement, so you constantly see very childlike boys versus girls posts everywhere, because they're basically appealing to 100% of any audience. Most men are average looking by nature, and because they never talk to women, women can't get an impression of their personality, so they can only judge them by looks, and if they don't look attractive to them, they're simply ignored. Of course this isn't always the case, but I think it holds true for most of the time. This also leads these men to believe that women are shallow, even though they don't give women a chance to get to know them. It's a vicious cycle. Isolation is extremely damaging, and they have to find insane coping mechanisms and beliefs to justify their existence and why things are the way they are.
Well, life is just a cope, bro. I don't care who the fuck you are, bro. Like, you're coping in some way. You're coping in one way or another, bro. No one's got their eyes all on. No one's got their eyes wide open all the time, bro. You could fucking go crazy, bro. So, life is cope.
Men and women need each other on a higher level. I think this goes for all people, actually. We're all together on this big blue ball, and being around people is not the same as being known and being seen for who you are. To know what makes you laugh, what makes you ponder, what makes you wake up every morning, and what makes you love. A lot of men simply get daily hellos and how have you beens, and that's it. No more deeper emotional bonding. What makes the lack of emotional bonding even worse is something I like to call homophobia. Being afraid to be perceived as gay when making a genuine emotional connection with another man. The roots of homophobia run deep in society, and it has affected men in the worst ways. If you're touch-starved and you can't even hug your friends because they're the same gender, are you really just supposed to gamble in the dating market until you find a female counterpart? I think that's a terrible solution in so many ways. Why can't men be close to each other, and why is it so bad to be perceived as gay in the first place? And you might think that it's other men that call each other gay as a way to diminish their worth as a man and attack their manhood, but no, this is a societal issue. I've seen women act the same, and old folks of all shapes and sizes. If you get too close to a male friend, you will be accused of being gay for one reason or another. And because it's been ostracized for men to be vulnerable, their personal information can be used as blackmail against them. If this happens to a man, this will only further push him to never expose himself for who he truly is to others, and he'll feel alone now is finding a relationship. And I don't mean a one-night stand or any sort of situationship or whatever. No, I mean a bona fide, properly defined relationship between two people. And there's many more reasons as to why that is, with an obvious example being for-profit dating apps that want to keep you lonely so you buy premium. And just so you know, dating apps
Guys, if you guys are on dating apps, bro, like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? Like, what the actual fuck are you doing, bro? I mean, look, do what you want, but good luck.
80% men. If you're gay, that's great news for you, but if you're straight, it's highly unlikely you'll find a woman interested in you just by statistics. Even if you are an attractive man, only a handful of men will have a chance at a relationship using those apps, so you have to resort to real life. But it's also not perfect there, because we suffer from a distinct lack of third places where it is socially acceptable to talk to women and approach them. And the women are also affected by the internet brainworms. They're still human, so similar to a lot of men, the internet has warped their sense of reality and led them to create extremely unrealistic standards that most men could never attain to. Especially if it's anything involving height, because 1, you can't change your height all that much. You can only affect it just a little bit by stretching and losing weight. And 2, the 6 foot or 180 centimeter standard a lot of women have is ridiculous because the majority of the population consists of men below 180 centimeters. But I believe not all women have these ridiculous standards. I think a good amount of them have perfectly understandable standards and desires, like wanting their potential significant other to not be racist, misogynistic, and homophobic. But as you know, these invisible men are led to be discriminatory against anyone who isn't them by bad actors using them as weapons and political tools. If you barely have any social interactions outside of talking to your Discord kitten, you might start to generalize entire groups of people because you only see extremified and exaggerated versions of them on the internet. I even used to be like that. I was extremely homophobic to the point of wanting to eradicate all gay people through removing the gay gene. But all of this hatred simply came from the fact, and they're so used to not getting fact-checked, they don't know what to do when their beliefs are proven false. The red pill and black pill both thrive on ignorance and division. If you never talk to women and seek out advice from people who are either also bad at talking to women or are actively profiting from your loneliness, then where do you think you're going to end up? And these beliefs also lead to self-sabotage. If somebody from the incel community manages to get laid, they get ostracized for it and accused of not being a true cell.
What the fuck? That's some bullshit. What groups are that? Yo, chat, comment section. What groups fucking ostracize you for actually getting laid? Incel groups. That's fucking insane, bro. It's really gotten that far. Oh my goodness. What is we doing?
Wish I was joking. You see, even when these individuals witness people like them get girlfriends and have intercourse, they mental gymnastics their way out of believing this is impossible for them because, oh no, I'm so much more cooked. I'm a true cell. It's literally impossible for me to get laid.
I'm so much
Their
more
beliefs
cooked.
are self-fulfilling.
No, I'm not even gonna lie, bro. I kind of find myself saying that shit a lot. Like I'm just like, bro, I'm fucking cooked. Like, bro, like, and this shit is from the internet, bro. Like, just the shit that, you know, that's in our algorithm that is being fed to us. Just like, fuck. I'm like, you just sometimes be thinking, you know, a lot of times you think you know in the right way. You're like, bro, like, a lot of shit's bullshit, bro. They're probably just grifting, right? But sometimes you really believe that shit. Like, bro, like, I'm actually cooked. Like, I low-key kind of believe, like, I mean, finding a meaningful, genuine relationship these days, bro, like, it's pretty fucking cooked with that. And what I mean is that it's just, like, you're going to have to go through a lot of fucking women to actually find that, you know? So.
Sea of loneliness. They go in with a terrible attitude, awkwardly stumble their way into asking a woman out. They reject themselves before the woman can even reject them. Or they expect the rejection to happen, and they use it as fuel to prove that it's truly impossible for them. I think some of these invisible men want to be like this. They enjoy this lifestyle of being a ghost everywhere but online. But I think most men who live that way don't choose to, and they choose to cope with it by seeking comfort in their misery. It's almost like Stockholm Syndrome. They stay miserable and lonely for so long that it becomes their natural state of being, and it's comfortable to them. So even if they try to improve their lives, it's uncomfortable to them and scary, and I get how misery can be comfortable and by extension, depression. You can play video games all day, eat however you like and when you want to, and sleep whenever you feel like it. That's the danger of the invisible lifestyle. Not having to deal with people is undeniably peaceful, and having no relationships to maintain often makes things easier. You can't be cheated on, you can't have your heart broken, and you basically remain in a constant state of mediocrity. This kind of reminds me of the super
mediocre
safe capsule
boys
from
in the
Mother
chat.
3. You can't be hurt, but your comfort zone and your room become your prison cell, and you become a slave to your own vices. Without the chance of heartbreak, there is also no chance to be loved. To experience the joys of this world always comes with a risk. In fact, life in itself is a risk. So
yeah, it is. You got that damn right. And I think we got the gist, man. You know it's bad when you can't even find friends online anymore. God damn. And this is on another episode of Misery Maxin. My mother has cancer and a lot of other things. A few days ago, I saw her at her lowest, delusional, incoherent, to the point I didn't even know if she realized who I was. I cried for the first time in about a decade. It barely lasted 5 minutes, but I had to hide in the garage. Even now, she's in the hospital, hasn't gotten better after 2 days, and I just want to cry. Damn, man, I'm sorry to hear that. That's actually pretty tough. This did not start with Gen Z, I can promise you that. I went through this in my 20s last decade. You first feel isolated, then eventually avoidant, and so you don't want to even be around people. I'm sick of being invisible. Anyone want to start a PMC in an offshore base? Not too sure what that is. I ain't getting a girlfriend either way, so there's no point in trying to talk to people. I just work and study new things. My cars and job keep me company and keep me busy, so I don't turn into a shut-in. What the hell is a shut-in? I was at a train stop and sparked a genuine conversation with a woman, Gen Z or millennial, and it was triggered by her big canvas carrying bag. I was objectively curious about her art while trying to train myself in building chemistry. A few seconds into the conversation, an older woman standing nearby just butts in and speaks in a Class A manner, effectively cock blocking me. It literally killed the conversation. No matter, bro, what is good with that, bro? The cock blockers, bro. Like, it's like, oh, you're not talking to me, so I'm just gonna fucking ruin it for. I'm gonna ruin it for you and you. Like, bro, that should be annoying as fuck, bro. I can't stand people like that, bro. They're truly the most fucking miserable people. We're invisible until we commit a crime and do something about it. LOL, yeah, 100%. It's over for most men. Honestly, I believe that shit, bro. I don't think anything can tell me otherwise that it's not over for most men. I think most men are absolutely fucking cooked, bro. I mean, it's just the writings on the wall, and I'm not here to, fucking, what's better? To tell the truth than actually grift and give you false hope, bro. Because at the end of the day, bro, I'm seeing it out here. You feel the energies, you feel the vibe. It's fucking cooked out here, guys. But yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that. Yeah, I'm very, very curious to see what you guys have to say in the comments down below. I was a little passionate. I'm kind of back. I was, like the past few weeks, man, I've been fucking, in my thoughts, bro, and I've been kind of fucking depressed. So, I'll just say that, bro. Who gives a fuck? We all get fucking depressed. It's a depressing world for the most part that we live in. Like I said, life is generally mainly pain and suffering with just like hints of joy sprinkled in there, here and there. So, end of the day, guys, it's your boy Didi signing off, the ungrateful Didi. I'll get back at y'all with another one.